Good day, I'm Lorraine Mendez and this is your JIS News for Tuesday, June 22. Prime Minister Andrew Holness says his administration is intent on sparking a housing revolution on the island. Part of that push is the state's build-out of 70,000 housing units over a 5-year period. Mr. Holness says the units will have varying prices from $3 million to $25 million. The Prime Minister says plans are also in motion to allocate suitable lands from the island's land bank for housing and urban development.
We're going to dedicate a certain number of acres of land, and we're going to invite developers to develop those lands. But the cost of the land will not be in the price of the house. So when you purchase your house, you're not going to be paying for the land. The government will effectively put the land into the development.
Prime Minister Holness was addressing Friday's handover ceremony of a 3-bedroom dwelling at Pedro District in St. Catherine. The house is the latest unit to be delivered under the National Social Housing Initiative being administered by the HOPE program. Mr. Holness says housing projects are also planned for Innswood and Bernard Lodge in St. Catherine, as well as areas in St. Thomas, Westmoreland, Clarendon, Hanover and Trelawney.
We are going to create a housing revolution in Jamaica. That if you want a house, you have the option of getting a house for a reasonable cost. So you do not need to go and squat on lands or create illegal settlements anymore.
Sections of Kingston Central are now under a 3-day curfew effective 7 p.m. June 21 to 7 p.m. June 23. The notification was posted by the Jamaica Constabulary Force last evening. The boundaries run north along East Queen Street from the intersection with Hanover Street to the intersection with South Camp Road. To the east, it also includes South Camp Road from the intersection of East Queen Street to the intersection with Water Lane. Along the south, the boundary is at Water Lane from the intersection with South Camp Road to the intersection with Hanover Street. And the westward boundary runs along Hanover Street from the intersection with Water Lane to the intersection with East Queen Street. Speaking at a press briefing prior to the curfew, Prime Minister Andrew Holness said communities in Kingston Central were also targeted for zones of special operation, ZOSO.
The zones of special operation should be considered as a long-term peace building and community development tool. We now have 5 zones of special operations. We have targeted 20 communities, of which communities in central Kingston are included.
With the AntiGang Bill getting the approval of the Senate on Friday, the process of it becoming law is now closer to reality. The bill is officially called the Criminal Justice Suppression of Criminal Organizations Amendment Act 2021. Minister without portfolio in the Ministry of National Security, Senator Matthew Samuda, says the bill is being strengthened to increase convictions and to significantly disrupt gangs and criminal organizations in Jamaica.
This is in many ways a culmination at least of a phase of over 10 years of policy and legislative work that has spanned us being on both sides of the aisle. And both parties, when in power, have seen the importance of this legislation. It's important that we conduct regular reviews of this legislation so that we can ensure that legislation evolves and changes and gives the security forces the tools they need for an ever-evolving crime situation.
Section 21 of the bill stipulates that the Act shall be reviewed by a joint select committee no later than 3 years after the date of its commencement. The changes specify additional offences for activities in which criminal organizations are engaged, as well as an increase in the number of offences under the Act. It also expands the list of aggravating factors to be considered when sentencing an individual convicted of certain offences under the Act and improves the trial procedures in order to protect the identity of witnesses. National Security Minister Dr. Horace Chang is calling for the nation to return to civility where women, children and the elderly are protected. Dr. Chang was touring the Domestic Violence Intervention Centre (DVIC) at the Matilda's Corner Police Station in St. Andrew on Friday. He says establishing these centres at police stations is an indication of the ministry's commitment to tackling domestic violence and intra-family violence. He points out that 58 cases of domestic violence were referred to the DVIC between January to May of this year, 5 of which were walk-ins. 104 cases were referred in 2020.
I think the centre at Matilda's Corner reflects the kind of direction the police is moving in, and the government's policy will give support to the activities there.
4 domestic violence intervention centres are currently in operation. Another 6 should be added by the end of this year through partnership with the United Nations Development Program at a cost of $130,000. Approximately 350 students attending tertiary institutions across Jamaica will receive the Betting, Gaming and Lotteries Commission BJLC Tertiary Education Grant for the 2021-2022 academic year. Application is now open via bjlc.gov.jm and closes on July 16. Manager for Corporate Affairs and Communication, Jeanette Lewis, says the grants are available to full-time undergrad students who are 26 years and younger with a grade point average of at least 2.75.
The grant is to aid with tuition, and the amount is $50,000 per student. And basically, it's a process of an online application, and that application includes submission of a writing assignment, and we evaluate the applicants, and this year we're choosing 350 students to disperse the grant to.
Ms. Lewis was speaking on a recent JIS Get the Facts program. She says persons can receive assistance via WhatsApp message at 876-224-2452, direct message via Instagram at BJLCJA, emailing info@bjlc.gov.jm, or calling 876-630-1353. And finally, Jamaicans now have an all-in-one application for transport, delivery, shopping and mobile money needs. It's thanks to Thursday's launch of the new Red Plate Transport Driver app. Once subscribed, each driver or vehicle will be fitted with one Red Plate smartphone with a 24-hour data and call plan. Persons in the transport sector will also be able to receive payment for their services in cash or by way of debit and credit cards. Transport Minister Robert Montague has endorsed the app, which he says will help the sector transform into a dynamic industry. App provider Red Plate Technologies Jamaica is a subsidiary of the Red Plate Group, a Caribbean-based multimodal logistics and transportation service provider. And that's it for JIS News Today. I'm Lorraine Mendez. Thanks for watching.